Hello and welcome. My name is Dear Durand. I am the creator and host of this fresh and unique radio program I call Think About It. Think About It is Nigeria's premier think show. It provides a platform for individuals to process salient lifestyle topics that affect our community, our society, and ultimately our nation. Just in case you were wondering if you heard right, a think show? Yes, indeed, a think show. Okay, so I'm guessing you may be wondering what exactly is a think show? It's simple and I'll explain. A think show is a radio program where you, our audience, will get to actively participate in the topics of discussion shared by the host, which is me. Every week, I will engage your mind through the process of thinking. You, my gracious audience, will then be able to give cogent feedback, therefore contributing effectively and efficiently to the program. What this means is that every week on Think About It, I will be engaging your minds to rationally and objectively evaluate the topic of discussion, a case study, or even a thought-provoking feedback from you, our gracious listeners. And this will be deployed creatively and interactively through radio drama, dramatic narratives, and our select invited guests, who will serve as a sort of think tank on the program. Why a think show, you might ask? Well, let's just say I noticed a gap. It's a knowledge gap that I noticed over time, and I thought we can actually use Think About It as a platform to close that gap. So, this think show was created to close the knowledge gap, the humongous knowledge gap created by poor thinking skills. If you notice, a lot of us exhibit poor thinking skills, and it shows up in the things that we do in our daily activities, our mindsets, things that we don't challenge, questions we don't ask, quite a number of things. So I noticed that for a while, and I thought, you know what, let's not be careless with a lot of things that we do. Let's be more intentional. Let's be more concise in our thoughts and not just loose in our thinking, because truly, as a person thinks, so he or she is. And instead of just being careless and throwing caution to the wind, or not just taking a second or two to actually evaluate what we're saying, or actually what we're thinking, then what we say, then ultimately what we do, I thought it was something worth exploring. Hence, we have a think show. I mean, who would have thought that anyone would need skills to think, right? Stay with us each week on Think About It, and you'll find out why. So I'm guessing your next question is probably, how does the think show work? Okay, stay tuned. We'll go on a quick break and I'll tell you when we return. Welcome back. You are listening to Think About It, Nigeria's premier think show, and I'm your host, Dear Durand. Just before the break, I was giving you, our listeners, a background on Think About It. I had just explained what a think show is and the reason why the think show was created in the first place. Before we left, we were wondering, how does a think show work? And I'll explain in the next few minutes. Every week on this program, we will discuss a particular topic. Listen to a drama or a narrative, or it may just be me sharing a thought in the course of the program. For example, in week 1, I will have a guest with me whom I refer to as the Think Buddy. The alternate week, I will have a guest whom I refer to as a Think Expert. So, each week, I'll have a guest. Week 1, a Think Buddy. Week 2, a Think Expert. I will basically gist about the topic of discussion with my Think Buddy in week 1, for example. But week 2, I will think through the same topic at length with my Think Expert. A Think Expert is simply our guest who is an authority on the subject of discussion. With our Think Expert, we have a deeper and clearer understanding of the topic. With our Think Buddy, we rouse your curiosity We will gist, but it will guide you in such a way that you'll understand where it is we're going by the second week. Think about it as deliberately a 15-minute program, but the true engagement of the program is online on our social media platforms. Well, folks, that's basically Think About It in a nutshell. You can get more information about the program on our Facebook page and on Instagram. Okay, enough of the lectures and technicalities. After careful consideration, I thought it would be a good idea to launch the program by giving us all, including me, the opportunity to learn how to think correctly. So in the next couple of weeks on Think About It, we are going to have an actual think expert who will teach us by sharing some basic thinking tools to help us with our thinking processes so that we can all actively participate on the program Think About It each week. I am convinced that after this next few weeks, you will get to enjoy Think About It a lot more, because by the time we've learned how to think correctly, when we throw out the topics of discussion, it will be more interesting when we gather our thoughts together after having learned how to think correctly, and we'll have a more productive time on this program. Let's start the thinking process, shall we? And our think expert for the next few weeks is Dr. Akin Odubiton. Dr. Akin is a medical doctor. He's also a medical literacy expert and a thinking skills advocate. Welcome, Akin. Welcome to the maiden edition of Think About It.
Hello, Lagos.
Hello, Nigeria.
Hello, Nigeria.
Great to have you on this program.
Great to be here.
I will only be able to introduce you briefly this week because you're here with us for a few weeks, right? So, you give us a brief introduction. But next week, people, we will go to town. I mean, paint Nigeria green, go to town, paint it white, then come back and paint it green again.
Absolutely.
Because Dr. Odubiton is a really solid person. You will love him. In fact, by the time he's leaving us, I suspect that all of us will be missing him. So I'll just give him a little time to just introduce himself. Then we will be back in the course of next week to go on into the technicalities. Back to you, Akin. Who are you?
Hello, everyone. Once again, I'm Akin Odubiton. I am a medical doctor. I am a medical literacy expert. But I'm here today wearing a bit of a different cap, or a different hat, as they say. I am here in my capacity as a thinking skills advocate. And what that means is, well, I tell people in different places and at different times that I teach thinking. And usually that elicits one of two responses. First is, you teach thinking. How can anyone teach thinking? Everybody thinks. What do you mean you teach thinking? Almost like people feel personally affronted that I teach thinking.
Yes.
And then the second school of thought is, oh, yes, critical thinking. And I say, no. And they said, okay, strategic thinking. Yeah, I know it. And I'm like, no. I know it. Creative thinking. And I'm like, okay, so all these things are subsets of thinking. What I teach is thinking development. I teach thinking effectiveness. And thinking effectiveness is the inevitable product of developing your thinking skills. And how I help people develop their thinking skills is by teaching them thinking tools. A tool is a machine.
Right.
A machine is anything that makes work easier to do. Right. And so if you ask around, you talk to people tell you easily that a lot of people think thinking is hard work. Say, so you say, oh, let's think about this thing. Everyone starts groaning. I have to go and think about.
Yes.
We go think about this. People they need to go and have a bath, go and shower first.
Cool down, relax, pray,
get a cup of tea, and say, okay, now let's now think. No, not necessarily. Anything is hard if you do not know how to do it.
Yeah.
Anything is hard if you don't have the right tools with
Yes.
which to do it. Anything is hard even if you have the tools, if you do not know, if you're not proficient at using those tools, it's going to be hard. And which is what I do. I teach people thinking. I help people improve their thinking skills by teaching them how to use thinking tools.
And I'm a witness, because I was literally convinced up until a few weeks ago when we had our first discussion that, look, I think, okay, this is think about it. Okay, so you will, the T word will exhaust it, honestly. I used to think that thinking was really so difficult. That's why a lot of people don't engage in it. I think it's really personally very tough to process things. But on the premise of what he said to convince me otherwise, that it's literally because a lot of people don't even know how to think. Not what to think, how to think.
It's the process.
It's the process. So one of the things I actually was going to even take you up on was the second reaction, which is usually people feel a little defensive. So I'm saying on behalf of Think About It that it's not so much as in to say to you that, oh my goodness, you're not thinking, not at all. It's to simply help you think better. So that's one of the objectives of Think About It.
I personally freely admit and acknowledge and encourage, and I'm inspired by the collective intelligence of the Nigerian people, by the individual intelligence of Nigerian persons, and by the potential intelligence of Nigeria as a nation state and as an independent entity. I am impressed, and I believe in Nigeria, but even more than that, I believe in Nigerians. So when I say I teach thinking skills, it is based on I'm making a bet.
Yeah.
I'm making a bet on the future of this country. I'm making a bet on the fact that no matter where you have gotten to so far, you can go even further. If you learn a little more how to mold and harness your thoughts in the process that is generally referred to as thinking.
Right.
So with thinking tools, you can mold and harness your thoughts better. No matter what level you are now, there is always better.
Right.
The enemy of better is good. Let me say that again. The enemy of better is good. Thinking tools will help you take your good, which is great. Good is great. Every good is a good place to start. But guess what? There is a place called better. And when you learn thinking tools, you are able to make that transition faster, smoother, and easier.
Good. Thank you for putting our heart at rest. That was how relieved I felt when he was telling me about thinking. I thought, really, you know who I am in the thinking business. I'm just kidding. Our time is up and we have to go. So you must join us next week for this series of Think About It, where we're going to guide you, and we'll learn ourselves one or two things, right, from the feedback from our audience, where we'll guide you on how to actually enjoy the program in the course of next few weeks. So what we're doing is teach you the thinking tools for your personal use, not just for the program, but then again, so that you can enjoy and actively participate on the program Think About It. So I am looking forward to seeing your thinking through with you in the course of this program. Next week, same time, same station.
Have a good time, ladies.
Have a good time.
Nigeria.
Bye.